Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Linda, and as you can see from the description box, yes, I am pregnant again. And yeah, I'm pregnant with my second baby this time around, and I'm very excited. But I will just give you guys like a backstory of how everything happened, and just our whole fertility journey as well. Yeah, I'll keep on touching as well on my previous pregnancy, my first pregnancy. So yeah, I hope you won't mind that. So me and Simba have been together for about 10 years. So when we started dating, the first thing that this guy did was to say, let's go test for any STDs or any STIs. And after that, the next thing was that he said was, okay, so let's start a contraceptive. You must start at least to be on a contraceptive, just to be on a safe side. Because we obviously don't want a baby now. And me being me, I'm just like, I've never been on a contraceptive before, and I don't believe in doing things that married people do. I'm not married, we must be able to protect ourselves and make sure that we don't have or we don't get pregnant, because why? But a few years went in and our relationship started becoming serious, and then we now started planning about our future and about everything, like when are we going to get married and all those things. And that's when I started taking contraceptives very seriously, and I started the 2 months injection. So I was on that injection for about 4.5 years, almost 5 years. I was on that injection, and everything was fine. Obviously didn't get my period, and it was just normal, because the nurse will tell me, no, it's fine, it's normal. Women's bodies are different, and some women, it's normal for them to not get their period when they are on the injection contraceptive. Okay, so fast forward to after we got married, a year in after we got married, I then now wanted to change my contraceptive from that long-term contraceptive to like a short-term contraceptive, because I knew that when I now want to have a child, and I am struggling because I've heard that injection can take longer. That's what the nurse said as well, that when you're now ready to have a child, you must at least change to a tablet contraceptive, a contraceptive that is not long term, and just to get your body ready, so that when you now want to have a child, it doesn't become as difficult. So that's what happened. I started with a tablet that I was taking each and every day. It was a Diana 35. About a year of taking the Diana 35 tablet, the contraceptive, then I decided, it's okay, because Simba has been ready for some time, and he's been waiting for me to to jump on board and to be ready. And I was just like, what, I think now it's a good time. We've been married for some time, we've stayed together for like forever, because we started staying together in 2017, I think 2016, when he paid lobola. So by the time we had our wedding, we were already staying together, so we were married for some time, and I stopped. Then that's how it went, and then we were now getting ready to have a child. A few months down the line, we then realized, man, it's not happening. But me being me, I have hope. It's gonna happen. I mean, I've been on contraceptives for more than 5 years, so obviously it's gonna take time. My body's still adjusting. My cycle was not normal. Sometimes I didn't get my period for months, and sometimes I will get them on time, so that's how it was. So a few months down the line, I'm like, oh, you know what, my cycle is obviously not normal for now, so obviously I might not get pregnant, so maybe that is why. And now that I'm not taking any contraceptive, surely it will get better in time. Went to a gynae way before, when we now started wanting to fall pregnant. We went to a gynae and everything was fine. And then now at this point, I'm sure it was maybe a few months down the line, maybe 8 months down the line, and we're still not falling pregnant. I go to a gynae and he tells me, you know what, you're still young and you're healthy, you'll be fine. It takes time, especially if you've been on contraceptives for that long. So he puts me on Clomid, and I was on Clomid for about 6 months. And then I realized, you know what, let me change gynaes. Maybe I need a second opinion. And then I go to a new gynae. I tell her, this time around it's a female. And then I tell her my history. It's been a year now. I've been on Clomid for about 6 months. The other gynae had recommended me Clomid, but nothing has happened. I'm now starting to be a bit worried. And then this gynae does blood test, everything, blood type, everything, just to check if everything is in order. And blood tests come and everything is fine. I'm normal. I mean, nothing is wrong, because I'm sure she also didn't want to put me on Clomid again, because I don't think it's normal to be on Clomid for like a long period of time. Okay. And then after my blood test comes and she confirms that everything is fine, she says, you know what, she says the same thing, you are healthy, you're still young, sometimes these things take time, just be a bit patient. Yeah. And then she sends me on a x-ray as well. So I don't remember the name, what they call that x-ray, where they check your fallopian tubes if they're not blocked. I go to an x-ray. I think I went there in August, or just month end August. X-ray came back, everything was fine. Everything was fine, everything is in place, nothing is wrong. Guess what? A week after I went to the x-ray, I was pregnant, and I didn't know that. Only found out like 6 weeks later. And when we count, we realize that it actually happened a week after the x-ray. So a few days after I went to the x-ray, it happened. And when I was still like a bit calm, because it was just over a year, like I was still fine, like, it's fine, the baby will come whenever, God will bless you when the time is right. As the Bible says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. So I'm still okay, man. And Usimba, the time is getting worried. And the gynae, after I went to the x-ray, the gynae had now started saying, you know what, let's get Simba checked as well. Just to see if everything is in order and stuff like that. And she gave me a form for Simba to go to the lab, so that, just to make sure that everything was fine. And guess what, a few weeks later, just before we even went, because we were now considering going, but we didn't go like immediately, and we found out we were pregnant. And it was just like a shock, and it was just beautiful. And that's how it happened. And we knew that after having this baby, I'm not going to take any contraceptives until we have a second child, because of the trauma that came with, the contraceptives, or when we wanted to conceive after taking our contraceptives. And because it was a bit stressful for us, we decided, no, after the baby was born, it was not even an option for us to take contraceptives. A few months after the baby was born and everything, my period was still not coming. So I reckoned with, maybe it's because I'm breastfeeding, because I've heard that. I've also seen on my app that if you're breastfeeding, some women don't get their period. And that's when women just think, because they're not getting their period, they can fall pregnant. And that's what happened to me. So I'm just thinking, you know what? Anyway, we want our babies to be like 2 years apart, the most, or 3, it's fine. But we want them back to back, and we don't want them to have like a big gap. We want them to still go through the same stages in life so that they can relate to each other, and they can be close and hopefully become, friends. So we move on with our lives. I mean, I'm not getting my period, it's fine. I'm not on any contraceptives, I'm breastfeeding. I'm thinking, surely I'll fall pregnant as soon as I stop breastfeeding. Exactly a week before my son turns 1, I find out that I'm pregnant, because the other weeks, man, I was not fine. I was sick. And I think when you know your body, man. And at this point, obviously, I know my body. I know how it is or how it feels like when I'm pregnant. I still have pregnancy tests in the house because I used to buy like a lot of them. This other time, I wake up and I'm not well. Simba was at work. I was at home, and you know what? I just decided to, let me just take this pregnancy test. Surely I'm not pregnant. I mean, I have never seen my period since my baby was born. So it can't be pregnancy, but it might be because of the way I'm feeling. Then I take the pregnancy test, and guess what? The lines were very red. And at this point, the first thing that I said was, thank you, Lord. I'm excited, but I'm also a bit scared because I have a 1-year-old who just wants our attention. And then I realized that, no, man, I felt pregnant because like in the 2 months, I was no longer expressing as much. I was no longer pumping as much. My milk supply decreased, and I felt pregnant. Anyway, I wait for Simba to come back from work, and imagine I found out in the morning, and then I wait for him to come back, and he's just like, oh, all right, congratulations. I'm just like, how, you're not scared? I mean, we have a handful right now, and guess what? We're going to have another child. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It happens. So what? I mean, we also knew that it was going to happen eventually. But the tricky part about this one is that I think from, let's say, 2 months before I fell pregnant, because of how long my first pregnancy took for me to fall pregnant, so I already had the prenatal vitamins, and I started taking the prenatal vitamins thinking, okay, surely if I take my prenatal vitamins now, just to prepare my body for pregnancy, it might just take as long, you never know. But we wanted to fall pregnant this year. That was for sure. So that's why I started taking, 2 months before I fell pregnant, I started taking my prenatal vitamins in preparation for pregnancy. But because of it took a bit longer the first time around, I thought that, no, I'm sure it will take a bit longer. Maybe after 6 months, we'll fall pregnant. Not now. Not that I'm complaining, because this is exactly, what we wanted. We did want to fall pregnant this year. And I remember when I started Daniel fast this year, January, with the church, and a baby was one of them. And we already know the gender. A baby was one of them. And I just realized, and it was the first time that I was actually fasting for Daniel fast, and it completely changed my life. I now take fasting as a normal thing to do, because it will just change your life. Most of the things that I prayed for, 80% of the things I prayed for happened. The gender of the baby that we prayed for is the gender that I'm carrying right now. And yeah, man, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see Uzan as a big brother, and just see how he actually interacts with baby. And I cannot wait as well to hold my baby. I'm going to be a mother of 2 soon, and yeah, it's so surreal. Simba's happy as well. I even had to stop breastfeeding after the whole finding out pregnancy thing, because it was daunting. One thing about me, when I'm pregnant, especially the first trimester, I will get sick. So I was sick I was sick until I think 16 weeks. I think mine this time around it went up to about 18 weeks actually, because I think with Zen 16 weeks I was better, I was getting better, but this time around 18 weeks, that was the time I was now starting to feel like myself, starting to feel a bit better. But first trimester is not easy. Like, I'm going to do trimester updates and tell you guys what happened during my first and second trimester. Yeah, man, life is changing very fast. And yeah, let me show you guys my bump. This is my bump. I feel like this time around it's a bit smaller than, yes, I do have like quite a small bump naturally, but I feel like this one is way smaller. But I'm excited, I'm happy. Yeah,